Alright, I get it. 2 of these a week. I know. But you gotta understand. I couldn't pass this one up. Hey everyone, this is Andrew from Pricebox Productions, and welcome back to YouTube Expeditions, where we confront fear to find the truth. And yeah, I know, 2 of these a week. But I found something that is legitimately real. That is not fake. At least not fake in the usual way, if it is. But it has me legitimately excited to actually get to see what is actually in this video. And now, I found this one while just searching the internet for some generally weird stories and stuff, and I found this. Experiments in the revival of organisms. And the thing about this video is that it comes from the 1940s out of the Soviet Union. It involves research into the resuscitation of clinically dead organisms. It was filmed at the Institute of Experimental Physiology and Therapy, which is in Moscow, using a heart-lung machine called the autojector. It was designed and constructed by one of the doctors there, whose work in the film is said to have led to the first operations on heart valves. It's very similar to modern ECMO machines. The film itself depicts, well, it's kind of, I think it might be a little bit horrifying to watch, but they basically took a dog and killed it and hooked it up to this machine and looked up this machine and brought it back to life. Yeah. This is probably one of the weirdest things I've seen that is legitimately real and has historical documentation behind it. There is some criticism of this because some actually are saying that it was probably staged to, make the Soviet Union look technologically advanced to the point that they had conquered death when the United States was unable to do so. But it doesn't dispute that they did bring something back to life. They just dispute that it was only brought back to life for a shorter amount of time than the scientists initially claimed. This one has me, like I said, I'm excited to see I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm anticipating what we are going to see in this one. So without further ado, let's get to the video. The film is shown through the courtesy of the National Council of American-Soviet Friendship and is distributed through the American-Soviet Medical School. Okay, cool. Okay, here we go, everyone. Soviet Film Agency presents Experiments in the Revival of Organisms. Like I said, legitimately excited. I want to see what they did and how well it worked. Research in the revival of animal organisms by means of an artificial blood circulation system carried out at the Institute of Experimental Physiology and Therapy, Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Scenario and scientific supervision. Doctor of Medical Science, I can't pronounce his name. I haven't been this legitimately excited for something like this. Granted, I've never seen anything like this.
But I have seen some of the experiments shown in this film actually carried out at the All-Russian Physiological Congress.
Okay, that's good.
As you can imagine, technique is everything.
Well, when it comes to, creating essentially zombies, I would imagine technique is important.
Besides such work as you are about to see, Bryukhanenko shares the credit for the methods of human blood transfusion, which were first developed in the Soviet Union and are now practiced in this country, which have saved so many lives during the war.
Oh yeah.
What enabled Soviet scientists to solve this problem?
That's an interesting question, because when I was researching this and looking up some other stuff, there were a lot of examples of where Soviet science and technology outpaced the United States by a very wide margin, and this was one of them. And this impresses me because this would probably be a legitimate attempt at creating a cyborg, basically. You just have something like this hooked up into your body, and it could conceivably keep you alive. As long as the thing stays functioning and doesn't wear out, it could keep you living for well beyond your normal lifespan.
Long ago, science established the fact that animal organs and tissues isolated from the whole organism can be maintained in a living state. But in order to achieve this, special artificial conditions must be created.
Oh, man. I really want to see how. I really want to see the experiment itself. I really want to see it, even if that, despite the fact it might be kind of scary. I really want to see. I really do want to see what they did.
Isolated organs can be brought to life, even though they've been removed from the animal's corpse sometime after death.
Yeah, okay. I read this in the article that they took this heart out and pumped blood into it, but they also defibrillated it, and it actually started functioning. And it started functioning normally.
There's a dog's heart.
And it does beat and work the way a normal heart would, without being connected to anything. Well, being connected
it can
to.
function as well in artificial conditions as in a living organism.
That is
and
amazing.
For this purpose, blood is introduced into the cardiac vessels. The isolated heart beats just as it did a few hours previously in the living dog.
That. Like, I keep saying that's amazing, but I'm legitimately impressed. I'm legitimately impressed they pulled this off in the 1940s. Like, holy... The Soviet Union essentially successfully created cyborgs. Or, well, zombies, but still. That is impressive. That is so impressive. These are lungs, what I remember in the...
on lungs taken from an animal.
Oh man, oh man. Oh man, I mean it looks gross, but still. It looks gross, but still, it's fascinating. I keep getting excited and geeking out over all this, but it legitimately fascinates me on this.
Blood is forced into the lungs by the action of the pump. The dark venous blood passes through this tube.
I mean, as much as I enjoy criminal justice, medical science has always interested me, and I mean, doing this in the 1940s is impressive enough, but imagine how far we could go now. I mean, we've cloned animals before. We are at a point where we're genetically altering human beings. Granted, that's kind of unethical, but the science behind it is just so amazing.
It takes up oxygen and becomes
this is another,
blood. The isolated lungs breathe, producing the same chemical changes as in the living animal.
I'm sorry I'm not saying too much, but I'm just literally in awe of this. I'm just really in awe of everything.
Also live in the isolated condition. Here is the plan of the experiment.
Where they hooked up a dog head to this thing. Oh man, okay. Yes, this is horrifying. This is a horrifying thing to imagine, but still, I mean, if this works, your head could be removed and attached to this thing. You won't have to rely on anything else. You wouldn't even have to really rely on food. Granted, this would probably be horrifying because you'd never be able to taste your favorite foods or even move your head anymore. But you could conceivably live forever. I'm not sure if I'd want to do this, because then I mean, living forever, I'd rather be able to live forever and be, mobile, so I could actually, experience things, experience everything, but still amazing. I mean, you could build a body with this thing in it and just attach your head to the top of it, and then just...
While the venous pump drains off the venous blood.
The artificial blood and the artificial pump and everything, and it pumps the blood directly into the brain and then takes the other ones out, filters it, and brings it back. Okay, that is like I say, I keep using the word amazing and impressive, But I don't know what else to how to describe this.
The artificial blood
This is
circulation
exactly that.
ensures the metabolism
Considering
necessary for the
this dog is essentially dead,
life of the head.
and this keeps it alive. It just keeps its head alive, but still, if it can still function and like interact. Oh, okay, there it is.
The isolated head lives on for hours and reacts to external stimuli.
Really? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it actually does. It actually does. I mean, the dog is actually trying to, like, citric acid. Oh my gosh. Wait, it's actually blinking too. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. That is amazing. That is amazing. It's horrifying, and I don't want to see the dog, and the dog is literally it's literally not something I want to see. But it's legitimately amazing that they managed to pull something like this off. It's still alive without the rest of its body.
The isolated head even reacts to light.
I mean, I feel bad for the dog, because I feel bad for the dog though, because it's essentially in a state of I have no mouth and must scream. The dog can't bark or do anything because it's not connected to because it doesn't have lungs to move air through its mouth. So if it's in pain, it actually can't say anything, and that in itself is kind of and that in itself is genuinely horrifying. I'm still really impressed with this fact that this thing actually worked. Ooh. Oh, no, okay. Okay. Okay, I didn't really want to see that part. That breaks my heart, because the dog is trying to move away from it, and it has no legs to do so. Ooh.
The revival of individual organs enabled scientists to proceed to experiment on reviving the whole organism.
Now, this is something that was really impressive.
The revival of the whole organism can be achieved with the help of an apparatus called the autojector.
Now, this one is actually also interesting. The dog died, and they brought it back this time, and it apparently stayed alive for its entire lifespan, after being dead for several minutes.
The autojector carries out the functions of the heart and lungs.
Alright, so if I remember correctly, what they're going to do now is actually take a dead dog and hook it up to the autojector and essentially revive it. I mean, wow. Wow.
Begin the experiment of revival. The experiment is carried out on a dog.
I know, I mean, I don't want to think about the dog being dead, or like them having what they had to do to get the dog, but I'm still interested in the science behind what they're doing here. It's interesting.
A substance which prevents clotting is introduced into the animal's blood. The dog is under an anesthetic. It doesn't feel pain.
Are we sure about that? That it doesn't feel
interruption
pain?
of the animal's normal functions have yet occurred. A special apparatus, the chymograph, registers the breathing and the function of the dog's heart.
Okay then. So that's how they're going to know if
Breathing
it's
are normal.
dead, basically. And I don't even want to... Oh man, it's heartbreaking to do this on a dog. But...
The experiment begins. All the blood is drained off through the carotid artery.
Okay, that is a terrifying thought, that they're essentially bleeding the dog to death. Oh my gosh. Oh man, I don't even want to think about what this dog is going through. Luckily, the thing about it is, I think it said it was anesthetized, and it said it doesn't feel anything. Oh jeez. The poor dog. I mean, I knew what I was getting into when I was going to do this video, and I'm still want to see how I'm still interested in seeing the process on how they did it. But I knew going into this would be here eventually, but it's different from expecting it and actually seeing it. Different from seeing it on that and then seeing it here, because this is like...
The heart has stopped.
Okay. Now, this is where the experiment truly begins. If I remember what I read, it stayed dead for several minutes before they activated the autojector. Did they expect this to work, or was it just dumb luck that it did?
Without operative interference, death would be final, as the disintegration of the body cells would gradually set in. The autojector is being attached before starting the revival. The arterial pump is connected with the artery.
Okay, and then the other one is connected to the other one, to the veins. Yeah, okay. And then that has the whole circulation, that replaces the circulation system in the dog and pumps the blood back in. And then they just defibrillate, and the dog is alive again. Oh man, I don't like seeing the dog like that.
10 minutes have elapsed since the animal died.
10 minutes. Okay, let's see if this thing actually worked.
The blood removed from the animal is pumped back into its vessels by the autojector. The autojector ensures a normal blood circulation in the organism, replacing the action of the dead heart and lungs.
Okay, this is getting interesting. Alright, so the blood pumps through the circulatory system and basically pumps all the blood back in. And then they just have to restart the heart. Well, it already has an artificial one attached to it. So will it actually begin to breathe again, or will it come back to life through this thing? Is the question.
The artificial blood circulation
I'm literally on the edge of my seat.
The heart to start beating again.
Holy it actually worked. Its heart is beating again. Holy yeah, I know, I keep saying that, and I'm gonna have to bleep all of that out later, but I'm like, wow. Does the dog respond?
Heart's action begins to be normal.
What about there's no respiratory though. Like, it's still not breathing.
First,
oh! 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 It just took a breath. Oh! Oh! It's back. Wow.
the respiration is gradually restored.
Wow. 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 They did it. They did it. They did it. They actually did it.
The dog
They brought it back.
breathes more normally and evenly.
I mean,
Condition approaches normal.
I mean, its breath is weak. It looks like it's weak, but
we can now disconnect the autojector and leave the organism of the dog to maintain life with its own resources.
wow. I mean, I'm still upset you put the dog through this kind of hell, but I'm impressed that they brought him back.
The dog soon shakes off the effects of the anesthetic.
Oh man.
The dog is still weak and can't move.
Aw. Aw. But from what I heard, the dog did live a normal life after this. So, I'm sorry the dog had to go through all of that, though, but at least he managed to live a full life after this.
12 days, the dog returns to its normal state.
Wow. So, he was fine. Hooray.
After the experiment, dogs live for years, they grow, they put on weight, and have families.
Oh, he ended up... he managed to live he looks so happy now.
For a number of years now, 3 dogs have been under observation in the Voronezh Medical Institute after being revived by artificial blood circulation.
So they did this to more... Oh, well... They did it to more dogs. Oh, man.
This dog, Bunny, was revived in 1939 after having...
1930... Oh, okay.
Black Ears is the offspring of revived parents. She herself was revived in 1939 after 11 and a half minutes of death.
So, okay, so they took two... So they had 2 dogs they did this to, and they bred... They bred the other... Bred a new one, and they did it to that dog, too.
Was revived in 1938 after 15 minutes of death.
Wow. They don't seem any worse for wear. They're just, like, normal now. Just like normal dogs.
These experiments on the revival of dogs have shown that the process has no harmful effects on the animal organism.
They don't seem to be any different. They seem to have normal behavior, at least from what we're seeing here.
Experiments on revival have added to the valuable store of our knowledge of experimental medicine.
Oh man, wow. 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 I know. I really don't like the idea that they had to put dogs through that kind of experiment, but the results yielded. Like, they actually brought them back. Like, they were dead for some for a quarter of an hour, and all they did was take a machine to replace the actions of the heart and lungs, and they brought it back. They started using it. It replaced it, and it allowed the heart and lungs to act on its own. And then they brought it back to life. And it didn't seem like it was. The dog didn't seem any different, at least from a normal dog. I mean, now the reason why I was excited for this one initially was because of the fact that this is something that I found that was real for once. Something weird that was actually real and that actually occurred. Nothing that was fake. I've seen, like, there are a lot of creepypastas about, like, the Russian sleep experiment and a whole bunch of other stuff that I've seen online before that I just sort of move away from because I know some of them weren't real. I heard of this, and this surprised me because this one actually happened. This one is confirmed. This was something that was confirmed to have happened. And even if there are people who are saying the dogs weren't brought back for at least enough, like the ones they brought back, some of the ones they brought back weren't alive for very long. The other ones they did managed to survive anyway, even though they did it with the same experiment. I mean, essentially this would be like the early stages of, like, creating cyborgs or something, like having artificial heart and lungs that won't break down as quickly, and then just leaving them to run indefinitely. The concept of somebody dying and then coming back, like that is fascinating. And the fact they can build a machine that could literally attach your head to, and it would keep it running, and it would keep your brain alive. Like, that is impressive. That's like something straight out of Futurama. But, like, I'm amazed. This video was itself. This short documentary was actually amazing. It was horrifying and sad, but still amazing at the same time. But still very amazing. And but for now, but yeah, I was genuinely excited to do this one, and I think my excitement was well placed because this was still amazing, and what medical science was capable of doing almost 80 years ago. Imagine what could be accomplished, and it makes me wonder, imagine what could be accomplished right now with modern technology. So, with that, I'm going to end this video here, so be sure to check out other videos as well as PrizeBox Productions videos or our channels PrizeBox Gaming and PrizeBox Reacts. Thanks for watching, and stay jamming, everyone.